We all have questions in our mind. Let's share a few of them. Who need God? Why one need God? Where we find God? How God will help us? There are many such questions. Do we really need to know the God? What we need is something which will work for us. Prefix: in this world many happenings are happening around us. Death, birth, rain, light, darkness, winter, summer, snow, gravity, good or bad. Many things are happening around us. It seems like all these happenings are independent, but actually everything is connected. It's a cycle of events which is happening around us, one after the other. Every happening is the end result of previous happening. It's a cycle of birth and death. Like summer comes after winter, it means summer is the death of winter and vice versa. Same way day is a death of night and vice versa. Let's understand more precisely about life cycle of a tree. It's a complete life cycle of birth and death. Birth of fruit is a death of flower. Birth of flower is a death of a bud. Seed is a death of fruit. A plant is a death of seed. A complete cycle of death and birth. Death of one is the birth of other, and it's so smooth and silent that nobody realizes what's happening. Everything is connected and it's continuous. It's hard to find out the space between the happenings. It's hard to realize when one form of life is transformed into other form. Is it a chain reaction? Yes, it's a never-ending chain reaction. Death and birth happening at the same time and space, and no one realize what's happening. Death transforming into birth. We take this as normal. Same transformation of death into birth and death is happening in animal kingdom too. But don't visualize this transformation of death into birth. That's why we feel this death and birth, and this really affects us all. We feel ignorant about the mystery of death and birth in animal kingdom. In this universe, every reaction is a result of a previous action, and every reaction produces a new action. This whole universe is result of continuous happening chain of actions and reactions. This continuous happening of actions and reactions are cause of evolution. This continuous happening of events is one which accumulates the system of life, called life cycle. The ultimate mystery for human race to know or to explore. When I started this book, the goal in my mind was to know the truth behind the actions and reactions happening around us, and to find out the relation between all actions and reactions. What is the meaning of these actions and reactions? How these will help me in my day-to-day life. How this ultimate energy flowing will help me to achieve my destiny. How I will become master of my life. Chapter 1. What we need from life in early age of human race. All the happenings around him, like day, night, rain, lightning, heat, cold, wind and earthquake, etc. All natural happenings make him restless. He feels like all these happenings are there to kill him. He fails to understand all these happenings. Those are happening around him. All the times he had curiosity to know more about these happenings. With every passing day the list of his queries was increasing. All the time he was thinking and discussing about the happenings around him. He was always trying to save himself from these happenings. He was continuously looking for the reason for these happenings. He was trying to find out the power working behind all the happening. What is the purpose of every happening? How human being affected with these happenings? What are the effects and after effects of these happenings? Everybody is affected with these happenings, and everybody is trying to find reasoning behind these happenings. People have different thoughts, different explanations, different reasoning, different logics, different wavelengths, different attitude, different psyches, different cultures, and different experiences towards the happenings around them. With progress in the civilized world of human, he starts realizing that all these happenings are there to help him. Now he is comfortable with all these happenings around him. But now more complex questions come into his mind for the happenings around him. Now he wants to know more about everything happening around him. He wants to know who had created this earth. We came from some other place, or we had been created by someone here only. Who had made this life cycle? What is birth or death? What after death? And what was before birth? Most importantly, who is running this system of life cycle? There was no one available to answer these questions. Rather, nobody was having an answer. But everybody was looking for the answer. Everybody was curious, and everybody were compiling the facts to solve the mystery of happenings. What happened was few people with higher intellectual level than other people had created different thoughts and explanations for these happenings. Everyone explaining things differently. All explanations were depending upon their culture and their personal experiences. They feel like there is someone who is doing this all. They named it God. Out of these many different explanations, one thing common among all these different explanations, that no explanation was without God, not even one that which believed that they don't believe in God. Interesting. Everybody is trying to explain that behind every happening around the universe there is a God. Every language or religion have different name for it. He is sitting somewhere and operating everything in this world. This way all the people with lesser intellectual level had started believing all the people with higher intellectual level. Now they had followers with them, and this was the time when religion first comes into the existence. Now we have different religions. Every religion has different theories and explanations for the happenings around. People with higher intellectual level had the ability to justify all the questions in front of their followers. More the followers, bigger the religion. At that time there was no parameters to verify the facts given by different religions. Every explanation was new for human mind. Human mind were not just open but empty too. They just were grabbing the thoughts given by the people with higher intellectual level, rather than selecting or analyzing the thoughts. Only two things were happening at that very time: speaking and accepting. If you had capacity and courage to speak, masses were ready to listen and they accept it without analyzing the facts. By that time they used to worship earth, sky, lightning, water, darkness, sun, wind, i.e. all the natural source of power or anything which was beyond their imagination and understanding. Things which frightened him existed in the system of life cycle. I.e. by now their fear became the master of their mind. This was going perfectly till people had faith in all this. With passage of time the concept of Supreme God comes into existence. This means that there is someone who is above all gods called Supreme God. Supreme God is one who controls everything in system of life cycle. Slowly with time many God and Supreme Gods come into existence. Now everyone wants their own God. Now the people with higher intellectual level people will become the messenger of God. They started their own explanation in their own way. People started doing blind faith to this messenger of God. They all were started claiming, or in other words forcing the human race, that whatever they are saying and explaining about the God is the only truth. Even few claimed that only they can release the human race from the wheel of death and birth. Few said that they are the only source for human race to realize the God. Few claimed that they are the relative of God. Few said they are the forecaster of the Supreme God. All these people had different time frames for the evolution of Earth, and they had different explanation for queries. Why humans are here on planet Earth. How they came into existence. Who was the creator of human being or whole living beings? Who was operating the system of life cycle? If you had studied all the explanations given by different people born at different places and at different time intervals while sitting on same table, you realize that all these explanations are misleading. All these explanations are misleading and contradictory to each other. Everybody were trying to prove that their theories and explanations were the ultimate truth. They were not just explaining, but in reality they were dictating the human race. They claimed that they had hotline connection with the Supreme. Whatever they are dictating is the only and the ultimate truth. Every messenger claimed that they are the people sent by the Supreme to look after the system of life cycle created by the Supreme. They are receiving the information and techniques to run and maintain the system of life cycle by Supreme God. This is wrong and misleading by itself, as every single person who claims that he had been sent by the Supreme explaining happenings in the system of life cycle differently. There is no similarity between their theories and explanations about the happenings in the system of life cycle. These theories and explanations which were dictated by these messengers did not give the impression that these were dictated by the single source called God. Everybody claimed that there is only one God. If it's true, then why not he God taught the same thing to every messenger? Why every single messenger explains these happenings differently? If Supreme himself is dictating them differently, this means God is having common sense lesser than a common human being. This means it is not worth to know, worship, pay respect to God, who himself is not clear how to teach his messengers so that these messengers will teach and explain something to human race and lead them the way to God itself. Here comes the contradiction: either God is true or either messengers are true. Both can't be true at the same time. One has to be wrong. There is a possibility that both can be wrong at the same time, but it's not possible that both are true at the same time. If we have to find out the truth, then only one can be true, and one can be true only when other is wrong. There is no other way. One has to be wrong, either God or messenger. Everybody is claiming differently about the concept of God. It clears that all explanations and theories are just the imagination by the individuals about the concept of God. All these explanations and theories are made to manipulate human race to become more powerful and to rule the human race. No theory or explanation has any connection with concept of God which they use to explain. Now there are many issues we need to know. Few are one. Does God really exists? If yes, how it will help humankind? Does God have any relation with religion? 3. Do all these religious guidelines lead to him, God? 4. Did all these human-made explanations or theories worth to pay respect? 5. Does all theories about the concept of God are made just to rule the humankind? 6. Is it necessary to know God and worship him? To answer these entire question, either God by himself come and explain it to humankind, or we have to rely upon the people who had created the concept of God. We call them the messengers. We can divide these messengers generally in two categories as per the theories developed by these messengers. Messengers in first categories are those who had been directly sent by God himself to dictate the humankind. The messengers in second category are those messengers who are not sent by the God directly, but they had experienced God through these different techniques. These techniques had been developed by themselves under the guidance or with the grace of God. Now they are trying to explain humankind that how to experience God. This is how they are serving the humanity, and they are performing this duty by the consent of the God. This all is happening with the divine order of God. To prove this all, they have different and infinite theories with them. Once we go through both the categories, you realize both have different platforms and have no relation and similarities in their theories and explanations about happenings in the system of life cycle. In this book, my aim is not to discuss that there is God or no God. The whole purpose of this book is to know how to get help from other side, which is freely available for all. We all need it. Let's get it. Let's accept it, to make life a better life. Chapter 2. Game people play. Part I. In this universe, physical law says that every action have equal and opposite reaction, and every reaction generates more actions. This is a chain of actions and reactions. It's an ever-ending chain reaction. This is the reason how universe is developing and getting more and more complex every day in terms of material and intelligence. In this universe, no happening is ineffective. Every happening has its remarkable effect on this universe. Every single or small change in matters and mind has its effect upon universe. This action and reaction are of two kinds, physical and intellectual. Both are created with energy, fact which is good to know that energy cannot be created or destroyed, but energy can be changed from one form to other form by applying some action or due to some reaction. This is why every intellectual action in human mind generates intellectual reaction in others' mind, and this will lead to development of intellectual level in universe. To understand the mystery of actions and reactions on human minds and its development, let's go through a simple example. Just look at the relationship of teacher and student. From ancient time this relationship is in the existence. It is a chain reaction. One teacher had produced few students, and out of few students some become teachers, and those teachers produced few more students. This is an ever-ending process and still happening around us. Every generation of teachers pass on their experience to their students, and students, after enhancing through their ideas and creativities, that information passes on to the next generation of students as teachers. This way impact of one's mind is affecting others' mind, and chemistry of minds began. With time the chemistry of minds becoming more and more complex, and life is getting more and more tactful. That's why life needs more inelegant efforts than physical efforts with the passage of every single day. Every mind is getting more effective every day. Just look at your life and the past history, you will find the answer by yourself. In ages back, physical fitness was the indication of strength, but now intelligence fitness is the indication of fitness. In terms of mind, we can divide this humankind into categories: 1 to rule and 2nd to serve. One thing which is very important, that everybody is ruling at different levels and everybody is serving at different levels. Charles Darwin declared that survival is the primary impulse of life. He had given the statement that only fittest will survive. In this statement, word fittest has different meanings for animals and human beings. Nearly all animals lower than men are motivated by instinct, but their capacity to think is limited. Therefore they prey upon each other physically. Man with superior sense and with passage of time after gaining experiences from generations developed the capacity to think and to reason, not to eat his fellow men physically. He gets more satisfaction by eating other humans financially and emotionally. In my life I came across almost every kind of person: peace-loving, God-fearing, rationalist, destroyer, preachers pro-God or anti-God, social workers, politicians, smart people, foolish people, hard workers, lazy peoples, egoistic peoples, cool people, etc. All look like different people moving in different directions. But when you go deep inside the minds you find that they are not different, but they are at different intelligence levels, but all are moving in the same direction to rule others. This audio file was created by Panapritter Basic. You can get it at panapritter.com. Everybody is trying to overpower everybody. Two things that makes the difference between animal and humans, and those are emotions and economics. Everybody is trying to play with the emotion of others and eating other humans financially. Look around and feel. This is the game which every human is playing with every other human, but at different levels. Chapter 3: Game People Play. Part I. The people we see around us, perhaps daily, live quite obviously on different levels of developments. Often it takes a mere glance at their expressions to perceive that all of them are not equally wise. The differences suggest powerfully that all human beings are in a process of development, not as species merely, but as individuals. The motivation that drives everyone, including the lower animals, is desire. All seek to avoid pain and experience pleasure. Human beings are more developed and in intelligence and understanding than other animals. Desire is no doubt most important motivational factor for human beings. Without desire nothing can be achieved. Without desire the process of development can't be possible. Most interestingly, we desire without knowing how to desire. Just like we want to play with fire without knowing the character of fire, this is how we play with ourself. We desire for getting that desire fulfilled, we felt happy, and then we want to keep that happiness forever. There are two things: first one is MOH and second is LOG. MOH means what I have I want to possess forever, and LOG means I want more. MOH stands for past and LOG stands for future. Whatsoever we have we don't want to lose it, and what we look in future we want it for ourselves at any cost or by any means. MOH means possession forever, as this possession gives us happiness and we want this happiness forever means permanent. What happens with this possession for happiness? This will generate desire to hold this moment of happiness forever. To hold this happiness is an conditional process. That means to hold this moment of happiness forever we need such and such things, as it is conditional. To understand this process of MOH and LOG, let's find out an example. A man is walking down the hill, sun is shining as usual, birds are singing, grass and trees are covered with dewdrops, fresh breeze is making air fresh. Suddenly clouds appear on the background. What a wonderful moment! Man feels happy and like this moment. He likes the moment as this gives him happiness. At this moment the new thought comes in his mind: how to capture this moment forever. How to capture this moment. This moment awakened his desire to possess this moment forever. He thought, how I can possess this moment forever. This is possible only if I can click picture of it. This is possible only if I had a camera with me. Only then I could hold this image forever, i.e. possession forever. This is the height of love, that we want everything which gives us happiness forever. We want material possession of everything which gives him happiness. Now the desire of having camera is getting fire inside him. He starts thinking that until and unless I possess that camera to capture the moment, he can't be happy till that time. Now this poor man is sad man and wants to capture the moment forever. He starts dreaming about camera which will help him to capture the moment and to become happy. After 2 months he gets the camera. He went back to the place where he finds that moment again. He clicked the moment and came back happily. Now he will have that moment forever. He developed the pictures. He is not that happy. Why? Picture is not clear. To get clear picture he need better camera, lenses and other accessories. For those accessories he needs more money which doesn't have at present. He starts working very hard to earn money which he needs to buy these accessories. Now what happened with this man? He is so stuck up with the things he had started to get this camera. Now he doesn't have time to visit the place where he had captured the moment. Well, never mind, at least he is having it. a very own camera of his dreams. Is he happy anymore? He was much happier before his decision of getting that moment of happiness forever. Then after getting the system to capture the moment which will brings happiness inside him forever, now he learned that to capture those moments of happiness forever he needs further attachments for his camera. Then again he had desire to get those attachments and working and putting stress both physical and mentally. He got himself too busy in arranging the attachments so badly that hardly he gets any time to capture the moment which gives him happiness. What joy it is. This is what the game people play with themselves. See chapter 4 Restart Your Life. Just look around what you extract from the world around us. Most of the people are struggling for their lives. Life has become miserable for them. Life is not a gift for them. Life will become a punishment to them. How this happened to them? What went wrong with them that the life is no more worth living for them? Just start from birth. Before birth, how you are getting your food, what efforts you did to get that. After birth you need oxygen and milk to survive. Who had provided you that? Who had given you the sense that how to breath and how to take milk? All that you have to do is just to learn how to have it. Nothing else had been done from your side. With the passage of time you will start getting everything you desire for yourself without efforts. Then you start doing efforts for your requirements and desires. After getting your desires fulfilled you desire possessing them for lifelong. More and more you start desiring more and more you start working for that, and the rat race for possession and desire will keep on going and you feel that you are trapped. Here is the point where you feel like life is not a gift for you, it's a punishment. One can understand this only when one reaches at this point. One ultimate truth is once in a lifetime everybody reaches at this point. When he thinks there is no way to escape, here is the point when you have to restart your life again. To restart life, what we have to do is reprogram ourselves with new softwares for our subconscious mind. Before we reprogram our subconscious mind we have to be very clear ourselves in terms of faith and process of learning. Until and unless we don't have a faith in anything it is hard to achieve that. Faith is the chief engineer of our own mind. When faith and thoughts work together the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibrations and translates that into code and transmits it to the other side of the universe to get help for you from other side. Faith is the one of the strongest emotion. This affects your life in such a way that no other can affect you. Faith is a state of mind which may be evolved by continuous repetition of instructions to your subconscious mind, through the principle of autosuggestion. Repetition of definite orders to subconscious mind is the only way for the development of the emotion called faith. Though faith is the starting point of every success. Though faith is the bliss of all the miracles and mysteries. Though faith is the basic component for every invention. Though faith is the only gateway through which we can get help from the other side. Oh, just have faith in yourself to have faith in infinite intelligence on the other side, impotently freely available for you. Though faith is the key to the mind. Though faith is an invitation to happiness. To learn how to learn, let's learn how our mind used to learn. To understand this, just go through a simple example. When we were too small and we have no idea what waking up is. We are totally unaware with the fact that there is something called waking and you don't know how to walk. When you've grown up you start realizing your outer world. You come to know that others are walking and you don't know how to walk. This audio file was created by Panapritter Basic. You can get it at panapritter.com. This is something you must know. This desire comes into your mind, and you start doing efforts to learn it. Once the desire for walking comes into your mind you start doing efforts for it. Slowly you learn it with continuous practice. But this time you are well aware with the fact that you are walking. You are very much conscious about each and every move you move. Once you know that you know with continuous practice, repeatedly instruction to the sebaceous mind you start walking unctuously. Now there is no need to watch your every move. In other words, your walking activity is controlled by auto driver called your subconscious mind. Now you are not putting your attention to your walking. This is way we learn our every activities through continuous flow of infinite intelligence from the other side of universe. The flow of blessing is constantly coming from other side of the universe. What all we have to learn is how to accept it. You have to make yourself more sensitive to understand, to feel, and to make yourself acceptor of the tremendous energy and intelligence which flowing towards you from the other side of the universe. Faith in that what you demand, You will get that exactly depending upon your persistence power. How firm you are with your desire. That means, are you sticking with your desire or you keep on changing your desire? If you are firm with your desire, you will get it fulfilled defiantly, and if you keep on changing your desire, you yourself spoiling your life. What picture you had in your mind and sending that to other side, in return of this action you will get the definite reciprocal in spiritual or physical form. The process of learning and believing what you are doing and expecting from the other side of universe is the only way to restart your life. Let's learn it. Chapter 5. You, the master of your own life. You are the master of your own life. Yes, you are the creator and master builder of two poles in system of life cycle, i.e. pole of happiness and pole of unhappiness. All the actions or the reaction in your life will lead you to either of the poles, happiness or unhappiness. You are moving like pendulum between these poles. It's your polarity with the happenings around you which decide your movement towards any of these two poles. Both poles produced equally strong magnetic fields. Your polarity will decide effect of magnetic fields on your life. In system of life cycle, you are an individual. You can't live alone and selfishly in the system of life cycle. You have to think in totality with the system of life cycle. You have to act like an integral part in the system of life cycle. No individual have power to be happy while considering him only and acting selfishly. You can't detach yourself from the system of life cycle. You are not born individual or by individual efforts. There is a whole interference by system of life cycle for your existence in this system. You can't separate yourself from the totality. We all are integral part of the chain in the system of life cycle. We have to follow the system of life cycle. If you are unhappy with the happenings around yourself, means you are not in integration with the system of life cycle. Before we go further, we must find answer to the simple question, who I am. And answer is equally simple, you are information. What? Yes, you are just an information. Just think about it. How you feel by knowing you are just an information, nothing more than that. It hurts you. Yes, it hurts you and your ego too. It's hard to digest, but it is true. Let's explain it. For example, you are Mr. and you are 30 years old with 70 kilograms weight. Take a pen and piece of paper and start writing down answers to few questions. 1. Who are your parents? 2. Who had given you this name? 3. What is your family background? 4. What is your education? 5. What is your profession? 6. Who are your friends? 7. What are your hobbies? 8. What are your strengths? 9. What are your weaknesses? 10. What you like the most? 11. Why other love you? 12. What you hate most? 13. What you if love someone? Take your time to answer these questions. Write answers to these questions in detail, from the core of your heart. Without answering this question wholeheartedly, you will not be able to understand the fact which I want you to understand. So go back and answer the questions. If you had not written it yet, write it now. Thanks for completing all question wholeheartedly. Now erase it all. What remains after erasing every word? Nothing, just a blank sheet. This is what you were at the time of birth. Ego-less. Now you are just a mass of 70 kilograms. Yes, you are just a mass of 70 kilograms, nothing less, nothing more. Now you are not feeling any ego. You are finished. You are just disappearing, just mass of 70 kilograms. Now find out yourself if you can't. You are just an accumulation of direct or indirect intelligence that we were getting from the other side from last 30 years. This whole information is just stored in your mind. Your ego feels uplifted and feels comfortable by possessing this information. As human being, you love possession of everything which makes you proud, as we already discussed in previous chapter. The moment we erase this information from your mind, what happened? How you feel? Are you feeling vacuumed inside by realizing that you are no more with this system of life cycle? System of life cycle had taken up everything which he had given you in 30 years. Now you stand nowhere. Just a physical body, good for nothing without the accumulated information received from other side directly or indirectly. Now there is nothing to be proud upon. Now there is no ego. We have nothing to possess. All possessions are the gifts from the other side. Now you are at absolute zero, or no mind. Now you having no connection with the system of life cycle. There is no importance of yours for the system of life cycle. Nothing can influence you and you don't have impact on your surroundings anymore. You have become unresponsive for the system of life cycle. Remember, we are nothing at our own. Whatever we are just because of the system of life cycle. We are the integral part of each other, i.e. we are for this system of life cycle and this whole system of life cycle is for us or vice versa. Everything or every individual are interrelated or interconnected through the system of life cycle with each other. We are made for each other and there is no place for selfishness. We are not individual. We are not independent. We are not alone. We are not self-sufficient. We are not the totality. We are not the master builder. You need everything in this system of life cycle and everything needs you to. You can't be selfish. You have to synchronize yourself with the system of life cycle. Quality of synchronization with the system of life cycle will decide the quality of your life. Better the synchronization, better the life. The moment you get selfish, you become out of the beat with the system of life cycle and start moving toward the pole of unhappiness. For unhappiness, what may be the cause is, the effect is visible and defiantly you don't like the effect. You can't change the effect, but yes, you can change the cause. As you are the master of our own life, you can remold your character. There is great power inside everyone that one can transform himself to reach the pole of happiness instead of moving towards the pole of unhappiness without having any check on himself. One thing which one must understand, that one can't change his destination, but one can make his journey of life much easier and happy by listening voice from the other side. All living beings are pre-programmed and all behave alike. Who belongs to the same species like loin, elephant, snake, fish, crow, etc., etc. All individual species have definite character depending upon the way they are programmed. Human being is different from all other living being. This difference is very narrow. One thing which makes the major difference is the capacity to think and say why. This ignites his desire to learn the system of life cycle. All other living beings accept everything as it is without any apprehension. But human beings need answers for every happening around. They want to know why it is so. His willingness to know everything happening around makes him superior to all other living beings because of the infinite intelligence he is getting from the other side. This why will act like a seed. This why makes him hungry and curious for the happenings around. His ego act as a water, mind act as a land for the seed, character is tree, and finally the creativity is the fruit. This is a chain reaction. This creativity is a deciding factor for your happiness or unhappiness. All are interlinked and dependent on each other. Look around in this system of life cycle, count down different living beings around you. Dog, cat, snake, rat, sparrows, crow, fish, hen. The list is very long. What you find common in all the living being, that is character. Every living being except human beings have particular character and you can explain or categorize their character. All dogs have particular character. Cats have different. Every animal is having specific character, but there is no particular character of human beings. It is impossible to define character of human beings in totality. Try it. It's not possible. You can't categorize human character in totality. All behave differently. Humans can change their character anytime. This is why humans are different and superior to all other living beings, as other species can't change their character. Dog can't not behave like cat. The horse can't behave like elephant. All are individual but can't survive as an individual. This is the beauty of this system of life cycle. Human being is the only living being which have a capacity to change his basic programming, although he is a pre-programmed living being. Human being is equipped with the capacity to change his character according to the external environment. He can change his character at will or as per requirements. He can change his habits and behavior at will. He can change himself from vegetarian to non-vegetarian, cool to hot, introvert to extrovert, cruel to kind, etc. anytime. There is an endless list of qualities. But none other species can do this. Every individual human being is differently programmed by the system of life cycle. This basic programming of individual will become law for an individual, and this is called character. So he behaves and reacts accordingly. For every individual to be successful, one must understand basic laws specially made for him by the system of life cycle. We have to learn these basic internal laws for individual and totality with the help of intelligence which we are getting from the other side directly or indirectly. Understanding the internal laws with the help of intelligence must illuminate the path of success. You can do this not by neglecting them but by learning how to live happily with them. To understand the internal law, take example of simple physical law, the law of gravity. Very first, when man conceived the idea of flying, the biggest hurdle in front him was a gravity. Earth attracts everything towards his center known as gravity. He starts thinking about flying without gravity. Same time, on other hand, he learned that nothing is possible on this earth without gravity. He was left with two choices. Either he dropped the idea of flying or to find out how to overcome gravity without leaving and neglecting it. He learned the law of thrust from the system of life cycle, which behaves opposite to gravity. This will help him to overcome all the difficulties due to gravity. Once he learned this, since then his dream of flying come true. He is flying not by leaving the law of gravity, but he is flying because he understands the law of gravity, his behavior, and learned how to conquer this from the system of life cycle. Everything is present in the system of life cycle and only we have to discover it. In this system of life cycle, every problem has its own solution. If one is looking for solutions, he is to find out the problem. Solution is already there. Similarly, if you are looking for answers, find out question. The ability to find out question comes from why your ego will feed it. This is the source of inspiration and energy for every human being to accept the intelligence from the other side. The human brain is a biological created thinking machine that has evolved for both personal and self-preservation and survival of all the species. The ego, which is a motivational force for everyone to speak, think and struggle for the fulfillment of the individual desire. Every individual is programmed for a specific purpose and he behaves and reacts accordingly. It's a duty of every individual to find out the purpose of his visit and desire accordingly. Your unconscious ego will help you to fulfill that actuality. Your ego is all-time present and working, just like our automatic metabolism, which keeps on working whether we are aware of its functionality or not. We need not to tell our heart to beat 70 times a minute. It will keep on beating regardless of our awareness. The brain function that controls heart rate is automatic and does not need our consciousness to make it work. Ego can't be destroyed unless the physical body dies. Our outer world is exactly a replica of our internal world. If we don't like the happenings around, don't blame the outer world for these happenings. This is not something which is coming to inside from the outer world, but in actuality it is something which comes from inside to the outer world. It is just the polarity of the thoughts which needed to understand. Once it is done, your journey towards the pole of happiness starts and the world of happiness is open for you. Just learn to tune your internal transmitter and you will become the master of your life. Get it now. This audio file was created by Panopeter Basic. You can get it at www.panopeter.com.